In early YouTube, there were no meta strategies to creating content as it was a fairly foreign concept. The basic ideas for creating content around gaming, back around 2013-ish, was old retro game reviews. AVGN was one of the big pioneers for influencing these videos. A lot of people took his style of video game reviews and video making and tried to integrate them and make a Frankenstein them into their own style of videos and try to like springboard their own YouTube careers. Basically, like think of like PBG and JonTron. They used anger in their very early content, and then they branched off into their own content later on. One of the iterations of this content was creepy gaming content, whether it was creepy game glitches, creepy Easter eggs, or video game creepypastas. There was a lot of content from the likes of the Sticky Paddle, Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers, Game Theory, Peanut Butter Gamer, other people from this time period. And to pay like my respects and tributes, I'd like to make a list of my own that covers these oddities I found to be so interesting in video games. These could be glitches, Easter eggs, or just atmospheric things from the games. Anything that would fall into the genre of an oddity. So as such, I'm not going to order these in any kind of way. Without further ado, here are my picks. Also spoilers for all of the games listed. Sonic Adventure Twinkle Park Early. In Sonic Adventure, there's a stage called Twinkle Park that is only accessible by Sonic. However, using Knuckles, you can enter this eerie version of Twinkle Park with soft locks and crashes around every corner. There's an odd redness that lingers around this level that usually isn't there. What interests me the most about this entry is how every major soft lock that should prevent you from accessing the level is able to be completely negated, such as these bumper cars that crash your game. Usually you're supposed to fall into loading zones that drop you into bumper cars, but if you use Knuckles' climbing ability to grab onto the sides of the tunnel, you can bypass this. Honestly, it's a scary coincidence that Knuckles can even access this level at all. Not because how bust the collision is in this game, but rather how his abilities perfectly counteract what should soft lock any other character. First, the level load in being countered by his gliding ability. And secondly, the bumper car's loading zone is negated with Knuckles' wall climbing ability. Ocarina of Time, Dead Hand. A few years back, the Sticky Paddle, who was a YouTuber at the time, said something that has stuck with me ever since. It's about how creepy oddities in an otherwise kid-friendly game can be the scariest thing due to the tonal whiplash. It's the unexpected nature of something scary being in a Mario game or a Sonic game. It's for this reason I think people want SM64 to be scary, even though it's not really a scary game. I played both the Nintendo 64 and DS version multiple times as a kid, and the only thing that really creeped me out was the infinite staircase, the music, the tonal rising music. I don't know what it's called. Look it up. Anyways, the game I did find scary was Ocarina of Time. One moment I remember vividly was the Wells mini dungeon. That area had a crazy gimmick where you travel to it both as child and adult Link. At some point I realized the feeling of helplessness in this dungeon as child Link, even though child Link and adult Link's movesets are pretty similar. This feeling peaks in the Dead Hand segment where this guy appears. This thing is here. This thing is here. It's here. Fuck. Okay. A pale white figure covered in blood that slowly approaches Link while making this awful curdling sound as it approaches. After its death, it doesn't fade out immediately like most enemies. Instead, its corpse just lies on the floor and twitches before it slowly fades away. Ugh. Cluster Truck Soft Locked. This one's more odd than anything, but in Cluster Truck, there's a soft lock on level 8-4 specifically on the Nintendo Switch version. In this level, if you die, the normal game over screen will appear with the last 3 or 4 frames of your death looping, repeating over and over. At this point the game is essentially soft locked and you can no further progress in the game. However, this glitch was patched in the later updates of the game and cannot be found online. It definitely does exist though, I've experienced it, but it seems only discussion of it can be found now. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. In some early footage of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, there's a segment where you can see a kind of cloth stuck in the gears, assumed to be a lab coat. If you followed Easter eggs and glitches in video games archetype of channel, then you've probably heard of Oddheader, a channel that documents these things in top 10 lists. While I do think his channel is alright, He is a somewhat unreliable narrator that can be biased at times, and will also believe a fictional ARG to be a creepy Easter egg that existed in a video game at some point. The reason I bring him up is because he discussed this footage in a video titled 5 Removed Easter Eggs Never Meant to Be Found, Part 2. He, in this video, tries to paint the picture that the sparks from the gears are actually blood dripping, but I have 2 reasons for not believing that. Number 1, making detailed sparks on a video game console from 2011 that has a screen this small would probably be too technically infeasible and perhaps wouldn't fit in with the theming and art style of Luigi's Mansion. Number 2, blood drops don't fall horizontally or diagonally. They're blood drops. They drop. As for the weird object and the lab coat lodged in the gears, the implications are kinda creepy. Especially with that weird shit Egad was saying at the beginning of this level. Oh yeah. GTA Liberty Statue Heart. The GTA 4 Liberty statue has a beating heart. To access it, you need to fly into the Statue of Liberty and perfectly land on this ledge that will lead you inside the statue. Once you're inside, you'll climb this ladder and find yourself face to face with the large beating heart. An eerie red surrounds it with chains securing it in place. Shooting it sprays blood, and honestly, that's about it. This is one of those Easter eggs that doesn't really add too much to the overall game, but it is just there. Super Mario Bros. 3 Warp Whistle Hell. In the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 3, if you were to use a warp whistle on a boat in World 3, you can leave the warp whistle island, but you can't get back on it. Weirdly enough, I couldn't get this glitch to work no matter how hard I tried on either the Japanese version, where this glitch is supposed to work, or the USA version. With the power of cheats, we can explore the underworld. After leaving the island, if we travel to the right, we'll see the void. Keep traveling in this direction for several months. We'll hit this wall of glitched tiles that appear to be warps to other worlds. In fact, a lot of them take you to World 6 for some reason. However, there's one world that just doesn't appear anywhere else in the game. World 0. It's a world that has an eerie red and black color palette with selectable levels that crash the game. Sometimes just traversing the map will also crash the game. There seems to be 2 to 3 different versions of this level, but honestly, if I saw this as a kid, I would have shit my pants for several hours. Majora's Mask. At the beginning of Majora's Mask, you can find a soulless dead Deku. Later on, you'll find the Deku Butler. He's a character you race to get a mask in the game. A mask not needed to progress in the game whatsoever. So you wouldn't really be at fault if you forgot his dialogue when he talks about his son who disappeared. Later on, we see the Deku Butler mourning what is heavily implied to be his son, and that's pretty sad on its own. However, the fact that the other 2 transformation masks required a soul from the characters they're based on creates this dark picture. A narrative where the Skull Kid kills a nearby Deku to curse Link, and this narrative would make sense. The Deku in question is only a few rooms away from where the Skull Kid curses you. The guy got fucked on. Earthbound Piracy screen. If you owned a bootleg version of Earthbound, you might find that you actually can't beat the game. The piracy lockout measures crash your game right before you can defeat Luigis. If this wasn't bad enough on its own, after this crash, all your save data will be deleted. What a dickhead. Truly despicable. Hell Valley Sky Tree. Super Mario 3D Land. The Hell Valley Sky Tree is a name that refers to giant dark beings that linger over Super Mario Galaxy. People believe this is also what appears in Super Mario 3D Land. Aliens appearing in 3D Land would make more sense, considering the UFO Easter egg in the first level. Honestly, it's hard to make out what these creatures are. I don't know. There's something. I never played Mario Odyssey. Wait, wrong game. I never played Mario Galaxy, so I'm not entirely, locked in with the lore of this. I haven't kept up to date with it, but, maybe they're Steven Hillenburg's Pikmin? That was a pretty popular game. God of War demo area. In a God of War demo on the PS3, there's this interesting area that doesn't appear at all in the final game. A pink mist maze area. Nothing has really made me more compelled to buy and play a God of War game other than this level. I want to just explore all the crazy shit hiding in this mist area. The Freezer. An entity in Saints Row that appears when you get out of bounds and cause it to spawn. When its silhouette appears fully on screen, your game will crash, but some people have apparently outran the Freezer before their game crashed. It surprises me that the video game community around Saints Row hasn't fully confirmed if the Freezer is real or not, because video game communities are just crazy like that. Let me give an example. The Super Mario 64 community. I probably mentioned it before that they're just insane. And to fully prove this, let's take a look at TikTok Clock. In this level, an upwarp glitch was found by Dota Teabag, and this glitch could not be recreated, even when notable community member Pain & Coic stepped in and offered a $1,000 bounty. He even provided his own save state for the level, and theorized that it could have ridiculously been Cosmic Reyes, as crazy as it sounds. I just think it's crazy that no one's hacked Saints Row and figured out the freezer is real, or fake. Kirby Boss. The boss in Kirby 64 is this giant floating eyeball that you have to shoot at. It has wings and it floats around, and it'll like cry these weird red mist blood tears at you that you have to avoid. It's incredibly unnerving and straight out of a fever dream. It's kind of similar to the Star Fox boss, biblically accurate Kirby. Rare's bad endings. The bad endings of Rareware games have always been in the Nintendo 64 era. From Donkey Kong Country's Game Over to Banjo-Kazooie's bad endings, they all evoke a different emotion, perhaps to an extreme amount, like DK64's ending. Like, why do I have to be the reason Donkey Kong and his friends die? You know? Come on, Rare. You don't have to put that responsibility on my shoulders. Look at Donkey Kong and Diddy. They're so sad. I'm walking here. Human corpses in video games. There's a disturbing subgenre of corpses in video games. It's a very bizarre niche. Specifically, though, human corpses. Hong Kong 97 is an example of such a game. However, that game is already rich with history of its own. Another example is Uta Hono Tatari. Upon activating an Easter egg by walking through a set of gates at a shrine, you'll see a corpse of what appears to be a woman. This Easter egg has been referred to as a glitch, or thought to be a glitch. I don't really buy it being a glitch, though. I don't think it is. I think it's an Easter egg. This just doesn't seem like something that would feasibly happen from some kind of glitch. I don't know. I could be wrong. Sonic CD Fun is Infinite. This refers to a creepy Easter egg in Sonic CD where a creepily faced Sonic tiled background watches you while a nice little song plays. Apparently the Japanese version was less creepy, the music was different. The Japanese text that appears translates out to Fun is Infinite. Neat. SM64 Beta Blarg. Something that always fascinated me about SM64 unused beta element. It could also kind of be unnerving if given the proper coding and time. Another thing about Super Mario 64, the DS version specifically, was the speculation around Waluigi being in the game. www Wario was one YouTube channel that posted about it in detail. A character in his narrative named Arceus found this secret mirror world where you could unlock Waluigi with screenshots of Waluigi in the game being shown throughout the video. Later on, www Wario posted a video showing how to fake Waluigi screenshots. So, let me get this straight. You make a video showing dubious screenshots to back up your narrative, and then show us, the viewer, how to fake them? That's right. So either www Wario is retelling a truthful tale sent to him from Arceus, or it's all made up. And personally, I choose the latter. Oh, wait a minute. What the fuck? Why is there a ladder in Super Mario 64? That's never been there before. Super Mario 64 existed way before ladders were even invented. How the fuck did they do this? Wait a minute. Are they watching me? Whoa, it's me. I'm really glad that I was able to get this out on time, probably. I just wanted to do something for Halloween, just have a little bit of fun. I'm kind of a little bit sick, so my voice is getting increasingly more annoying. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good Halloween.